Hello and thanks for joining us for our weekly film show on Arts 24, and we're starting with the Venice Film Festival, and Spain's finest director Pedro Almodóvar has been awarded the top prize, the Golden Lion, for his first English language feature. The Room Next Door, starring Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore, talks about euthanasia and climate change. At 74, his 23rd film marks his first major victory at a film festival. It was tipped for the prize after receiving an 18-minute standing ovation when it premiered.
The film basically talks about Tilda Swinton. She's a woman who's the master of her life when she's alive, but also the master of her death while she's alive too. And I believe that this is a fundamental human right. That's why we should take a human approach to euthanasia, not a political one. But it's up to governments to create a law that allows for this transition.
There we go, Pedro Almodóvar talking about his award-winning film, The Room Next Door. Next to a sequel that both 90s kids and millennials have been waiting for, BeetleJuice Beetlejuice premiered in Venice and hit screens here in France this week. 36 years after the original, Monica Bellucci, Willem Dafoe and Justin Theroux joined the original cast members for a trip into Tim Burton's unique Gothic comic universe. Olivia Salazar-Winspear tells us more.
Jesus, Bob.
He's back, the ghoul who doesn't take no for an answer. BeetleJuice Beetlejuice sees the return of Tim Burton's bizarre and creepy character with a very dark sense of humour. The sequel to the 1988 cult classic brings in a new generation, with Jenna Ortega now playing the youngest member of the Dietz family.
Ghosts aren't real. Only gullible people believe that kind of crap. It's been just enough time for people who saw it in the theaters for the first time to feel nostalgic for it, but then also there's young people who haven't seen a movie like this before, because there hasn't really been a movie like it since, that it's exposing them to new ideas.
Is your mom Lydia Dietz?
Unfortunately.
She's a legend.
The living, the dead, can they coexist?
For Winona Ryder, reuniting with co-stars Michael Keaton and Catherine O'Hara was something she'd had on her to-do list for years.
I got quite emotional, like being there again and seeing everyone, and it was surreal, but it was a really beautiful experience.
After its premiere at the Venice Film Festival, the cast saluted the man who brought them into his weird and wonderful universe.
There are so few opportunities to be in something that you can say is 100% original and unique. If you ask me, or I kind of don't want to know, where did this come from? It just came from somewhere out there.
It came from somewhere in the mind of Tim Burton.
It's showtime.
BeetleJuice was the filmmaker's second feature film. It won the Academy Award for Best Makeup, kick-starting the career of a director who's always been in touch with his inner child.
This is amazing.
Now Burton's unique artistic vision has been crowned with his very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
So ever since, walking the streets of Hollywood when I was a little boy and coming to this toy shop, which is still here, which is incredible. So to have this in front of this place makes it extra special.
And his clout at the box office is still a force to be reckoned with. BeetleJuice Beetlejuice brought in $110 million on its opening weekend.
Well, BeetleJuice Beetlejuice was also screened at the Deauville American Film Festival, and we can cross there now for the latest on all the action with France 24's Genie Godula, who's also the MC for the festival. Hi there, Genie. Now, this year marks Deauville's 50th anniversary. It's also the 30th edition of the festival's competition. What are some of the highlights so far?
Hi, everyone, from a very windy Deauville today. We are at the halfway point now, Eve, of the festival's competition. There are 14 films in competition. We're about the 7th film at the moment. A few of those have actually really stood out for me that I'd just like to highlight. One is called Sing Sing. Now, this is directed by Greg Cuidar. It tells the story of a theater program inside a high-security prison, Sing Sing, in New York. It stars Colman Domingo, who was nominated for an Oscar last year for his role in Rustin. Now, he plays a once real-life prisoner who was one of the founders of something called the Rehabilitation Through the Arts program. And what's so unique in this film is that the cast of prisoners is mainly made up of former inmates who themselves were part of this theater program. So that's one film that I really felt stood out. And these lines between fiction and reality are also blurred in another competition crowd pleaser that was called The Stranger's Case. Now, this film was the first feature from director Brant Anderson. He founded something called the Real Foundation, REEL, which helps refugees and people from other marginalized communities share their stories through art. So in this film, The Stranger's Case, it tells the story of a Syrian family who's trying to get a better life for itself in the world. It got a standing ovation at its competition screening here in Deauville. And one of the standouts in that cast is actually a French actor, Omar Sy. Now, our viewers might know Omar Sy from the hit TV series Lupin. Usually he plays more comedic roles, but here he is playing completely against type in the role of a tough refugee smuggler. Take a look.
I'm offering one-way non-stop ticket to Greece. It will cost you $2,000 for an adult, $1,500 for a child. Dollars, not lira.
اسمعوا يا جماعة، العقد بيقول اللي عايز يروح اليونان $1,500 للأطفال و$2,000 للكبار.
We don't accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Only cash. No exchanges, no refund. You show up late, or you got caught, not my problem.
Omar Sy in The Stranger's Case, one of the films in competition here in Deauville. Just two more I'd like to highlight quickly. One is called Exhibiting Forgiveness. Now, this is the first feature film from an internationally renowned African-American painter, Titus Kapvar. This first film is semi-autobiographical. It talks about a painter's troubled relationship with his father. It was presented here in Deauville by Andre Holland, who viewers might know from his role in movies like Moonlight or Selma. And just one more to flag for you, Eve. Bang Bang is directed by Vincent Grashaw. Now, this is about a former boxer who's trying to reconnect with his estranged grandson. And this stars the great Tim Blake Nelson, who's a character actor who's been in everything from the Coen brothers, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, to Just Mercy, to even the Marvel Comics universe where he's been in Captain America and The Incredible Hulk.
And Jeannie, Tim Blake Nelson wasn't the only actor from the Marvel comic universe to be in Deauville this week, was he?
Exactly, and this one was a charmer, Sebastian Stan, if you know who he is, Eve, that actor perhaps best known for playing Bucky in Captain America. He was awarded the Rising Star Prize here in Deauville on Monday. Now, in his speech, he acknowledged his Romanian roots. The viewers might not know that. Actually, Sebastian Stan was born in Romania. He moved to Austria with his mom, a single mom, when he was a young boy, and then went on to move to the States when he was just 12 years old. Sebastian Stan, at his speech, saying that he feels that he's really getting in touch with his European roots, and his European background has given him a certain sensibility in choosing his less commercial roles. You might remember in Cannes this year, he played a young Donald Trump in The Apprentice, and he also won the acting award at the Berlin Film Festival this year in February for his role in A Different Man. That film was screened here in Deauville this week. Take a look.
This drug seems to have the potential to actually heal you. The implications are life-changing.
The face is falling off in clumps. I'm sure it only looks like clumps to you.
Perhaps any potential risk is worth the reward?
Look at this guy! Look at this piece of man candy!
Can I believe my eyes? Edward! Who didn't remember me? Oswald.
Hi.
So, Jeannie, tell us about some of the other talent in Deauville this week.
So a series of Deauville Talent Awards are being handed out this week. American indie favorite director James Gray, the director of Ad Astra, Lost City of Z starring Brad Pitt, got an award. In his speech, he said he owes his career to Deauville because it was here 30 years ago that his film Little Odessa got the Critics' International Prize. Also at the end of the week at the closing ceremony, we will see Oscar winner Natalie Portman, who will get her Deauville Talent Award from Isabelle Adjani, that French icon. Portman, of course, won the Oscar for Black Swan, is also famous as Queen Amidala in Star Wars, and she's had a long love affair with France ever since one of her very first films, The Professional, with Jean Reno.
And on Friday, the great Francis Ford Coppola will be in Deauville as well.
Right, the director will be screening his latest film, Megalopolis. But for those who prefer a more classic Coppola, they can see his masterwork, The Godfather, on the big screen here as well. Now, that is one of 50 classic movies that's being shown on the big screen to mark this 50th anniversary edition. Also this Friday, the festival is going to be having a great ceremony with a dozen former jury presidents here in Deauville. Everyone from French actor Guillaume Canet to Oscar-winning director Jean-Jacques Hano, Costa Gavras, or Claude Lelouch.
And if you could give an award, Genie, at this year's film festival in Deauville, what film would you choose?
I think it would be the best transformation. That would go to American actor Juliette Lewis. She's in a movie called The Thicket that was screened here, a Western thriller that was produced and starring Peter Dinklage, a Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. She plays Cutthroat Bill, and she is unrecognizable.
Okay. Genie Godula, thank you so much for joining us from the Deauville American Film Festival. Enjoy the final week. We're going to leave you now with a look at Genie's pick, The Thicket, starring Juliette Lewis. Thank you, everyone, for watching. See you next time.
I was starting to like you. And I'm so scared. How come nobody put a gun to my head? You're the littlest man I ever seen.
You're the ugliest.